Hey everyone. Welcome. Perfect. Awesome. Okay. Just getting up, streaming on multiple sources. So hello to everyone who I am live with in the Facebook group. Hello, if you are catching me on YouTube. I'm just going to pull up the chat. Yay, I see some of you with me. Hello, say hi, let me know who's here. Okay. I'm so excited for our session today. Okay, there I can see everyone. Oh, I'm frozen. Okay, I should have a live chat up. It looks like it's frozen right now, but if you guys do have anything to say, or if you're saying hello, I'm saying hi back. All right, so today I'm really excited to be here again for a training. There's so much that goes on in a month. So this month we've actually had two trainings where I've got to come and just share with you. And so this one is all about how to invite or welcome an orgasm into your world. Next week is book club, and we're starting a new book called The Sacred Embrace of Jesus and Mary, because our group after Mary Magdalene Revealed is like super into, just into the relationship between the two. So next week is book club. And then the week after is Sacred Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll with another amazing guest who I am so excited for you guys to come and have a listen. But today we're talking about how to welcome in an orgasm. And the reason that I really want to talk about this today is because nearly a quarter, so about 25% of women can orgasm from physical penetration alone. That's not very many women. Okay, and this has a lot to do, and this is from like 40 years of research. Emily Nagoski in Come As You Are in her book, and Toni Weschler in Taking Charge of Your Fertility, and gosh, so many other sexologists out there who speak to this. So we know that this is a fact. Probably yourself and many of your friends know from experience that this is a fact also. And so that doesn't make it okay. That doesn't mean that we just have to fake it or that you have to fake it or that you have to do some other. I'm just going to hang on, guys. I'm pausing for a sec because I can't. It does say we're on Facebook. Okay. We don't have to fake it, and we don't have to just accept that it's okay to not, we don't have to sacrifice our orgasms. So I'm just going to tell you guys right now that on Facebook, I can't see your messages. It's not playing. So I'm just going to roll with it. So we're going to talk about how to celebrate, how to not have to sacrifice, not have to surrender our pleasure in the bedroom. So there's two things that I do want to speak to before I can go completely into this, because there are two really important things to keep in mind. So one of the factors that influences whether you are going to have an orgasm from penetration alone is your physical anatomy. So depending on which of the 9 anatomy or vulva profiles that you are, can influence is one of the really easy ways when you know this about your body to know whether you are your physical structure is going to be able to support having an orgasm from penetration. Because what happens is when you know your anatomy profile, your vulva profile, one of the things that it looks at is the distance between your clitoris and your vaginal opening. And of course, if you are a profile where those are farther away from one another, it's harder from just penetration alone. Like you might not necessarily get that grinding action against the clitoris. You might not get any touch. And again, this also comes into this could be a whole other episode where we talk about what sex positions are better, for orgasm. Maybe that'll be next month. So knowing which anatomy profile you are can be really, really helpful. Also, the other thing that it also goes over is the location of the other erotic zones within your vaginal canal, within your sacred cave. Because again, if you have a really deep sacred cave, from penetration alone, your partner might not reach your cervix. They might, you might only be getting G-spot stimulation, maybe. And so that's all you really have to work with. Our vaginal canal is actually intentionally structured, and you'll see in a second why this totally makes sense, but it's actually part of our reproductive system that has very few nerve endings for the purpose that it's through our bodies that we birth life. So if our vaginal canal, which is the route for babies to come into the world, was loaded with nerve endings, it would be even more excruciating than it already is. So our vaginal canal does not have a lot of nerve endings. Our clitoris, on the other hand, is jam-packed with them. Again, for so many different purposes. This is one of the things that we go really in depth in the 6-week Sacred Nectar, which we're just closing tonight. So that's the first thing to keep in mind. Is it's really helpful to know what your vulva anatomy is. I will be doing a whole, how many hours? About a 2-hour class at the end of the month. The VulvaType program that I'm doing in person, but I'm going to do it online as well. So if you really want to know, come to that and we'll go through that completely. The other piece is knowing what your conditioning and your beliefs are, because there may be more that's happening at a psychological level, at an unconscious level, than just the desire, right? We can't just say, hey, I really want an orgasm. There's a lot of things going on. So as much as you might want to get there, until you feel safe in your body may not let you get there. So this is why in my programs, I work with women to uncover your conditioning and programming first. And then we go to heal it as much as we can. But then again, the healing also happens. This is the unfolding of your petals, right? It is a continual unfolding practice. So we might heal something and then it's to look at the next thing. But one of the things, so the program Advanced Sacred Sexuality is focused on this re-education process. So part of the way that we can recondition and reprogram our thinking is by going through this re-education format from a very holistic spectrum. So we've been, everything we've been taught has just really been like one lane, one lane on the massive highway of sexuality. And so re-educating from this holistic spectrum and going through embodiment practice is a really, really powerful unfolding and way to recondition. So keep in mind, if either of these pieces feels fundamental to you, then it might be necessary to do some deeper work. And you also need to sit and feel into the discernment whether you are ready for that. My programs are for people who have done a little bit of the heavier work and you feel safe and you feel ready to come into that. If you really are starting at ground, or ground zero below, perhaps what feels like ground zero, finding a sex therapist in your area is a really great place to start also. Okay. So to get to today's topic, if you feel safe in your body, if you feel like, yes, I'm one of those 25% of women where, I'm just not going to get there from physical penetration alone. What are some of the things that you can do in your world that will be helpful to get you there, where we're just sort of inviting the opportunity to present itself? So one of the very first things that you can do is, and I love it because it's such a subtle, sensual experience, is simply coming to your shower or your bath and or yoni steam. So the thing about playing with water is it's a really subtle experience. It feels very safe because you often are in the private, like, you have privacy, you're in your own really sacred space. And you can even, to make it feel really safe and really sensual, you can set up ceremony around the whole experience. So bringing in your candles, having perhaps flowers in the water, bath salts, Epsom salts, essential oils, whatever feels really yummy and delicious. And just allowing from the tap or the shower head, allowing some warm water to run over your clitoris and just exploring that sensation. It might even get you to orgasm. The other thing is the yoni steams. These are just such an incredible wellness practice alone. Again, if you guys are hopping on Facebook, I'm so glad to have you guys here. Say hello so I can come and see who is here with me. I'm not able to see tonight. The video wasn't working, but I'm so happy that you're here. So another one, yes, is the yoni steams. And like I said, these are just there's really a health practice. You can get yourself a yoni steam stool. One of my favorite things that you can kind of play around with is there's these yoga benches that you can use. They have a nice padded seat and then sort of this like U-shaped hole. And they're actually for practicing like headstands and different inversions, but it's actually also a really good dual use. You could use it as a yoni steam stool, 100%. You don't have to have anything fancy like that. You can also get just a pot or, really, and this is my favorite way to do it, is just getting a really sensual, like I love going to thrift stores and finding like really delicious like teacups and things like that. So go and take a look at the teapots that you might find secondhand. You might stumble across a treasure, and something that feels really good, something that feels pleasurable and sensual. You can just use that. That's all I do is I boil water. I add, I have a huge jar of fresh lavender and I sprinkle that into the water for my yoni steam. And the steam is actually really healing and stimulating for the uterine lining. Again, whatever floral essences you bring in can also be really great for the uterine lining. So this is a really yummy way, again, to just set the tone. It's absolutely around for myself with yoni steam setting ceremony with intention. I like to go into meditation, and it is for me, it is something that starts to sort of awaken pleasure and sensation for me. And so it's usually something that I do that does lead into my orgasmic practices. And again, just allowing yourself, this is the thing about exploring with the yoni, is it's all of the ways in which you can begin to welcome in more into your world, more sensation, more pleasure, more self-awareness, ultimately at the very essence of it. And so it's a very subtle sensation, feeling how that steam feels on your vulva. And even playing around with that awareness of the penetrative energy can be really sensual. And like I said, it might be a little prelude to or setting the scene for some play to come. So that's the very first one that I recommend, is playing around with your shower or bath steams or yoni steam. It's kind of a lot in number one. So, but that's a really yummy. And I love the thing about that is you're playing with water, which is completely natural. It's a nice way to actually set that connection with nature and just connecting nature with your body, because this is what our exploration with sexuality is it's coming back to our core nature, right? Coming back to the essence of humanity. So that's what I have to say with the first one. Our second one is being open to vibrators. And let me know if that first one, if that's one of your practices that you already have in your world, if that's one that sounds yummy, what sounds really exciting about it, what has been really exciting about it for you. Okay, so number two is vibrators. And this is the thing that I love about toys, is pleasure tools are just wellness tools. Again, like I said at the beginning, a lot of this has to do with, and how we feel about these things has to do with our conditioning, with the programming that we've experienced through our lives. A lot of women resist pleasure tools. And I'm here to give you permission. It is a wellness tool. Your pleasure has to do with your health and wellness first. Mental health also. another piece of information that a lot of people feel like, well, they're not natural. I want this practice to be really natural for me. And I absolutely honor and celebrate that. And start there, right? Start with your hands and get to know yourself, get to know your erotic zones. But there is nothing wrong with, again, wanting to bring in more. You deserve all of it. You deserve all of it. There are pleasure tools that are dating back so far in time that show us that women have always been using these pleasure tools to enhance their experience. These are sacred, okay? And if there's ones out there that don't feel sacred for you, then don't go to those. I promise you. Oh, you have to stay with me. Please, if you're not following me on Instagram, but later I'm unboxing, oops, sorry, some of my latest. I've opened the box and I thought, no, I can't unfold everything because I want to unbox with you all, but I've just ordered some new toys from the Yoni Pleasure Palace and talk about sacred, but more on that. I'm going to do that later on Instagram. So these pleasure tools, women have always been for millennia. So get this, the earliest dildo was discovered dating back 25,000 years ago. So this is normal for women to use tools. It is part of sacred practice. They've always been there. So like I was saying, if there's some that don't feel really sacred or sensual to you, explore. Don't completely shut the door to that world. Explore what your options are and find the ones that feel really good for you. Again, it's also, if you're feeling nervous or resistant to it, just be conscious, don't let it become a crutch, just like everything, right? Just like sugar, just like alcohol. There's really everything, or TV, right? So just be aware and don't let it become a crutch, but it's absolutely a way to know yourself and the heights of your pleasure at greater levels. And you completely deserve it. You deserve it because your pleasure is, it's through that channel of pleasure that you are going to access the highest realms of your being. More on that continually. So there's so many different vibrators that you can start with. So I'm just talking about vibrators today. This is a whole other program. Another one I'll be doing online is sex toys and wellness tools, where we'll really look at all of the yummy things out there. But for vibrators, you can get, it's just finding the right one, finding the one that feels safe for you. There's those little pocket rockets, which, you can get ones that look, they're small like this. That's mine. I like this, just the tiny one. There's ones that look almost like little lipstick tubes, so they can be super discreet. You can put it in your drawer and not be worried if your kids find it. But I also think that if they did, that's a really great opportunity to have a really powerful conversation. There's also the rabbit. So the rabbit is like the platinum version out there. So it's got a head that kind of rotates. It's got these beads at the base that rotate. It's also got the little rabbit ears, so that you also are getting vibration directly on the clitoris, as well as the penetration. So that's that's the deluxe version, the rabbit that's out there. I think that was the one that was initially introduced through Sex in the City, and still everyone knows the rabbit. There's also some vibrators out there that have more of a pumping action instead of just the vibration. So if that sounds like that would be really yummy for you, there's so many things. It's finding the one that is right for you. This is literally a world to discover. The bonus is that with a vibrator, you can also discover which erotic zones you enjoy exploring the most. Plus the bonus of you could use your hand and the vibrator, so you're able to access multiple zones, which means you're setting yourself up to also explore blended orgasms. So really, really exciting. So this is a really powerful way to begin to invite orgasms into your world. Let me know how that feels for you. Let me know if this is something that you are resisting. Let me know if this is something that you absolutely enjoy. What kind is your kind? Which one speaks to you? This is the place where we can feel safe to share. The third invitation is truly is an invitation. So it's texting as foreplay, or sexting. So especially as women, we sometimes need extensive foreplay before feeling warmed up or even interested in getting to sex. This is like one of the biggest things for myself. And I think all women too, like our cycles change so dramatically. There are times in the month where, you know, I can't even entice myself to want to come to self-play, you know, like I just am not interested. So we need to know what is going to get us excited, what's going to make us want to say yes, to begin to open up. How can we and how can our partner begin to invite us into play? This is one of the things I love saying about sacred sexuality is like, this is the, as adults, this is our playground, right? This is where we get to go and play, is with our sexuality. So yeah, how do we want to invite ourselves to get there? This also goes back to the VulvaType, or your anatomy profile, because one of the things that it tells you, your profile will also tell you, is generally how long it will take you to get to orgasm. There are some profiles, like the Dear Woman, it can take her 1 to 3 minutes. That's totally normal, which can be a good thing, but that's also an invitation for the Dear Woman to also slow down and prolong her playtime, right? We don't need to just because we can get there really fast doesn't mean we should. And for some women, the Dancing Woman, it can take up to 45 minutes. Okay, so you can see how this is really unfair to like put time pressure on it. And I know this is one of the things, one of the, you know, if you're not one of those 25%, the time that it takes to get there can put intense anxiety on this for us. And that just doesn't have to be there. So again, one of the reasons why the VulvaTypes is really useful to know, another way of knowing more about yourself. The other thing with sexting is that with this, it's a really great way to start just slipping the invitation early on. You can, you know, earlier in the day, start messaging, maybe sending photos with your partner, and it gets your mind on it. So you're sort of marinating in that sensual, yummy, flirtatious energy throughout the day, so that by the time that you guys are together, you're like ready to rip each other's clothes off. So your turn on has literally been turned on for a long time. So this is a really, again, subtle way, subtle and simple way to begin opening the opportunity. Let me know what you guys think about that. Number 4 is erotic imagery. So, this is such a big one. This could be its own. And again, I know it's a really controversial one because a lot of people do not like pornography. You know, there's kind of 2 camps to it. It can be a really great sex tool, but there is a lot of dark energy that can be sort of attached in that world, especially, you know, likely, especially from pornography. Anyhow, there are some more mindful, ethical directors out there. One that is really interesting to engage with or interact with is, her name is Erica Lust, and she's like a feminist erotica filmmaker. So what she felt was a lot of the erotica that was out there was for men. You know, it was set up for men, where the female body was just like a vessel to get to the orgasm, which again, not a sacred practice. But Erica has created these erotic films that are focused on storytelling that is appealing for women, which I think is really, really cool. So there is a lot of power and influence to, again, just activate that turn on, the power of image, the power of word. So that's the other one, is erotic imagery, but through our imaginations, right? Like, let's not discredit the power of our imaginations. Within my program, the 3-month program, the Rose Codes, which is all about the Magdalene, activating the Magdalene pleasure codes. This is one of the whole sessions that we go into, is the power of the imagination in terms of manifesting and creating our reality. So a really, really sensual, yummy, delicious way to work with this is with sacred sex scripts. So this is one of the Magdalene pleasure codes that I go over. And it is using your imagination, using language that feels luscious and juicy for you to create the sexual scenes that you desire. So it's really giving yourself permission to just feel into what would be really, really good and delicious and sensual, what you would like to experience. And I love getting to do this one with my clients because it can look like whatever you want, right? It could be like writing your own script for an erotic film or an erotic scene. For some people, it's all about just like a merging of energies. It's almost like an energetic orgasm, which is super sacred and super sensual. Just imagining masculine energy penetrating your body. Or it could be a connection with nature. So sacred sex scripts are really, really powerful in terms of activating your sensual power and creativity. There's also some really great apps out there. If you feel resistant to pornography, because again, this is another one, like be conscious, be aware that it's not becoming a crutch. Porn addiction is a real thing. But the apps are really great. And again, I love it because again, as feminine energy, when we're talking about sacred sexuality, females, we are receiving energy, and to be able to receive, we are really surrendering to our senses. We're allowing ourselves to surrender to all 5 senses. I always say we're surrendering to the 5, and then we're opening ourselves to the 6th, which is how we receive, how we become and allow our bodies to be a vessel working with, goddess or divine energy. This is where you receive your downloads, conception of whatever it is that you're desiring to create. So listening to apps that are telling erotic stories is a really beautiful way to activate your senses. There is a really great app called Dipsy, and another great one is Rosie. And so either of those, if you want to just sit and listen and allow yourself to just get taken away, right? Again, turn on your turn on. So that is the 4th. I cannot wait to come and see the comments. Again, hello to everyone who is joining me live. I wish I could see who's here. I'm sending you so much love. It's so nice to be in space with you all. Okay, and so number 5 is teasing and withholding. So this is sort of that energy all within foreplay again. And what I really want to focus on here is sensory play. So this actually kind of comes back to our wellness tools. Like I said, this is a whole session in itself if we were to go into toys, but sensory play is often something that people forget can be sort of plugged in under those wellness tools. And for a lot of people, the sensory experience, it's one of the erotic types. So again, if you don't know what your erotic profile is, that sensory play might be something that is actually integral to your arousal. And so sensory play, so this means, having different textures, so like the blankets that you might have, in your living room or in your bedroom might be really, really influential and in activating your turn on. Having different textures like feathers, silks, satins, all of these things that you can play with. One of my favorite things is actually a chain flog, and I don't want it for the flogging feature, but the sensation of dragging the cold chains over your body, or even letting it drape over the vulva, and having that cold sensory play with the heat of penetration is super delicious. So this is all part of sensory play. It's all part of the teasing, the withholding. It's that building of the experience. So allowing yourself that time to just play. Like I said earlier, right? It's like sexuality is just our adult playground. It is how we play as adults. We have permission to still have fun, right? This is the time to tap into that youthful, vibrant, vital energy. So allowing yourself to tap in with that sensory play teasing, withholding, exploring the erotic zones like your neck, the insides of your elbows, down, at the base of your belly, even the arm, like around the arms can be really sensitive, the lips. So just exploring your body or your partner's body, or having your partner explore your body. So many ways, again, to call in more. And again, allowing the body to feel safe and allowing the body to begin to want to surrender so that we can welcome in that orgasm, right? It's not just about like, let's just get there. Let's just have one. Like, we're just supposed to be able to just have one. Sure, they're great, but the level of intimacy and the level of more and the level of exploration and discovery is in sacred sexuality really, really integral. So that's the fifth. The sixth is giving yourself time to explore the G spot. So this is another, there is, under the guide section, there is a whole, there might even be 2 of these trainings where we go over all the different erotic zones. So the G spot is one of the erotic zones. It is sort of one of these like elusive, like, is someone going to find it? Is your partner going to find it? And if your partner has to stop and ask, did you orgasm? This is a chance that your partner doesn't really know how to get you there. And so all of these are going to be really powerful seeds to plant and ways for you to begin, unfolding into this together. And this is also why, like I say, sacred sexuality is all of, it's a wellness practice. It's all about self-love. You are your best lover first, right? So if you don't know yourself in this fullness and what you desire and what you feel and what feels good, start there, right? You are the one who is only ever going to be most responsible for your pleasure. Once you know, then you can begin to share it with someone else. So figure out what these erotic zones are for you. So exploring the G spot comes back to those anatomy profiles in our science textbooks. Actually, the cool thing about the G spot is it is actually one of the parts of our reproductive system that scientifically isn't actually, it's not an act. In scientific terms, it's not anything yet. There's still so much to be explored in and around our reproductive system. It's mind-blowing, but we know that the G spot is there. And so there is a way to find it. Again, most textbooks will tell us that it is located in sort of one general spot. I mean, it is in one general spot. It's going to be inside, it's inside your sacred cave. That's where you're going to find it. So if someone's not going in and exploring, they're probably not going to find it. It is a little bit harder for us as individually to find it, because the best way to get there is sort of this, that like 1 or 2 fingers in and then the come hither action. You can get there on your own, but it is like a bit of an awkward angle. And it's very, so its placement does vary, again, depending on which anatomy profile you are. For some women, so for everyone, it is on the top or the roof of your vaginal canal, but how deep it is. So again, in textbooks, they'll say, it's about midway back, but depending on your VulvaType, it might be really deep, closer towards your cervix. And for some women, it's just right inside the opening of the sacred cave. So we all have a ring of nerves. Again, this can be a really great erotic zone for some women. And just sort of on the other side of that, nerves right around the mouth of the vaginal opening for some women is where the G spot is located. How you can find it is the texture does change. It can be sensitive at first. So again, you want to give yourself time, a little bit of that teasing and withholding, that sensory play, that foreplay, before necessarily looking for the G spot. But once you become aroused and there's been blood flow into your clitoris and to your G spot, it sort of plumps up a little bit. The texture of it is a little bit more rigid. So you'll feel like these like sort of ridges on the texture of it. And when you can feel that sensation, you have found the G spot. So it is a really fun place to play around with. I definitely encourage that you explore and get to know it. This is the spot. Again, science has not yet found an explanation for why some women can squirt or have this, this like gushing release of juicy fluids. But we believe that the G spot might be responsible for it. So that is a really great way. If you want to try squirting, you're going to have to explore the G spot most likely. So that is number 6. And number 7 is oral sex. So again, penetration might not do it alone. Oral sex is really beautiful because you can have this really gentle, like the tongue is warm, it's soft. The clitoris can be really, really sensitive for some women. Some women might not even like direct pressure, but you can get this really soft, warm, amazing sensation with oral sex. Again, not going to be able to perform this on yourself, but asking your partner to. It might be fun to start off in the shower together and then move into oral sex. And like I said, it can be really gentle. Again, it allows you to perhaps access multiple erotic zones. So you could, your partner could be using his tongue on the clitoris. You could have a vibrator or a dildo or something where you are getting that penetration, or he might be no, sorry, that's not probably I was going to say. He might be not while he's giving you oral sex, but with fingers. So definitely manual stimulation. Or you might be playing around with 69 and you might be stimulating each other at the same time, which can be really, really sexy. Right. So it's almost like your bodies are really tuned in with the 69 position. You can really tell when one person is getting aroused, and that can be really arousing. So it's a really great way to be able to reach orgasm, and it often can be a lot more fun than penetration. So that's number 7. And the last one that I'm going to share today is using warming lubricants. So one of the defining features that sort of accentuates the lead up to an orgasm is having this surge of warm energy. And so having a warming lubricant can be you're almost playing around psychologically with your body. So it's like reading that you're getting sort of this warm flash, but also physical because it is warm and it feels really good. So this in so many ways can be a great support to reaching orgasm. So there are some warming lubricants out there. Again, some people don't like lubricants because there are some that are not so great of ingredients, but there are some really great, oh my gosh, what is it? I'll have to share it in a post, but there is a natural lubricant that I love mainly because it smells like vanilla. And it is all natural. There's some lubricants people don't like because they kind of get like kind of gummy and sticky. I find this one doesn't do that. My husband says it does. But again, this is very much like a lot of the other things that we talked about, where it's finding the one that is right for you. I know that it does, because this has been my experience. It really sucks when you spend money, you get one and it's not good, but it's worth it when you find the right one. And these can be, really great support to actually, encourage your body to welcome an orgasm. So let me know which ones of these were really speaking to you tonight. So just to kind of go back over them, ways to welcome or invite an orgasm into your world. So the shower, bath, yoni steam. Number 2 is vibrators or pleasure tools. 3, sexting with your partner, erotic imagery, either through erotic films or listening to erotic stories or writing your own erotic stories. 5 is teasing and withholding, bringing in some sensory play, allowing yourself to explore the G spot. playing around with oral sex, and opening to introducing warming lubricants. So many yummy ways to set yourself up for success. And like I said at the very beginning, I do want to really acknowledge that there, if you're still going, I don't think that's going to be enough for me, knowing what your anatomy profile, so knowing your vulva type, and also getting to the root of where your conditioning and beliefs come from, which may require healing. My programs are designed to uncover your conditioning and to support you with your healing. If you are someone who has experienced deep trauma and you've not done any work around it yet, I definitely encourage you to go and work with a sex therapist first, until you feel ready to face, some of the memories that will come up, because they will come up. And I'm definitely here to hold you and support you, but want and need you to be ready. So again, I would love to hear how some of those landed for you. If there's ones that you're like, oh yes, I'm so ready for that. And remember, the reason that I wanted to really come into this and have this conversation is because, again, only about 25% of the women out there can actually reach orgasm through penetration alone. And so this is, if anything, a reminder or a permission piece that that's totally normal if you're not one of those 25%. That penetration alone is probably not the most sexy sex life that we could be engaged in. And this is why coming to Sacred Sexuality is so exciting, is because you are opening to discovering all of the ways, all of the more in which you can access in your pleasure, in your self-understanding, in what you attract into your life, like more in every way that you can bring more into your world. I also wanted to let everyone know that I have, sorry, something just flashed. Yay, we're still here. We're still going. So just before I wrap up, I wanted to share a new program that I've just opened enrollment for. It's called Foundations. And this is almost, so as I have been working with my clients, many of you, one of the things that I've seen is when we dive into this world of sacred sexuality, women are beginning to have such prolific awakening of their creativity and their creative expression. And a natural progression is that a lot of women are leaving their professional roles to step into their soul-based business. So Foundations is a program for female professionals transitioning over to their soul-based business, where women are stepping into entrepreneurship. And so this is for women who are making their creative expression their ministry. Like I said, a natural evolution when you are definitely engaging in the work and the embodiment of sacred sexuality, because you begin to reconnect to your sensuality and awaken this creative flow. So if your business is feminine-based wisdom, where you get to just live in sensuality, live in flow, flexibility, a little bit of the chaos, but a whole lot of creativity, this program, Foundations, is the healthy masculine counterpart, because a lot of you have probably come from living a life where you have been living in an unhealthy way in masculine energy, where it's been about hustle, where it's been about pushing, it's been about doing and performing and creating in a way that was really unhealthy. And so it's like awakening to all this feminine wisdom, learning how to be feminine. And part of what you are here to do is bring that wisdom to your community. But a really integral part is to have structure, to set the structural foundation for your business. So I see so many women who are stepping into entrepreneurship who are going just sort of, winging it, trying everything, getting exhausted, not really sure if what things that they're doing are working or not, because you're often not consistent, because one thing, when you try one thing and it doesn't work, you ditch it. And so this program is your healthy masculine counterpart. setting your structural foundations for your business, to hold you, to support you, to support your feminine wisdom into conception within the world. So it's for those women who are like, I am ready, I'm doing it, I'm ready for the structure. And this is in this program, we're doing the work. So this is planning and creating your business infrastructure. So it's not just going over concepts, you're doing the work. And it's like a 6-week intensive. It's going to be 6 weeks of transformation for you and your business. And you're setting the structural foundations of your business so that your messaging, your purpose, your mission, your pricing, all of this is anchored. You have the language to speak what you're doing to the world, and you're able to build from there. So if that feels like it's for you, send me a message. This starts at the beginning of November, so in 2 weeks from now, and I'm super, super excited. I've been listening to you guys in our consultation sessions, listening in our visioning sessions, and this is what I know that you were asking for, and it is in my wheelhouse. This is in my wheelhouse. I've only been doing this with some of my private clients, and it is within my 12-month program. There's a whole 6 months that's based around business, but I'm chunking it down so that it's accessible and not such a huge time commitment, because again, where you are in your entrepreneurial venture, you can be there's a multitude of steps. So this is if you are feeling like you really need to set the core foundations of your business and grow and build from there, which there will be more to come. So I'm super, super excited. Reach out to me if this is feeling like, yes, this is me. This is exactly what I need right now. And also this is, I've got to go because I've got to hop over to my group Sacred Nectar. We're just having our last session from from our second round. And we will likely be opening for the third round later in November. So again, if that's something that you have been following and has been calling to you, this session, Jackie and I, it's been mind blowing the way that the women have showed up. It has been absolutely next level. Absolutely next level. So if you are ready to be in space with sisters and heal and transform with your sacred sensual power and wisdom, come join us in Sacred Nectar. So lots going on. I'm so excited to have been here to have this yummy conversation. I can't wait to go and check all the comments. If you're catching it on the replay, thank you so much for joining. And I will not be live in the group next week because it is our book club and we're starting a new book. It's a pretty light read, but really deep gold nuggets within it. So if you'd like to also come and join book club, just send me a message and I will pop you into the group. It's free. Sending you all so much love, and I will see you here next in 2 weeks time for Sacred Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll with an amazing guest. All right, sending you all so much love. Take care.